Alrighty, folks, welcome to our NBA free pick video here today for Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. Happy hump day to you. Weekend's right around the corner. We're halfway there. Of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks right here on YouTube since 2016. And if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video that I actually like the best, you may want to think about signing up for today's extra daily pick on my premium site. We're now hitting at 7-1 in our last 8 extra daily picks in that package. And the good news is we have another extra daily pick going off here this evening. And I'll explain a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But with that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the Timberwolves at the Celtics, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Boston's minus 6.5, totals 233 and a hook. And even though the Celtics are a little banged up right now, I gotta tell you, it's tough to fade a team who's 17-0 in their own building. That's right, the Celtics have yet to record a loss this season in the TD Garden. And a lot of that success is thanks to some solid rebounding on offense. Boston currently leads the NBA in offensive boards per game. So even in the rare instance they miss a shot, well, the Celtics get it right back. And to be fair, well, they don't miss many shots. Matter of fact, Boston's currently leading the NBA right now in three-pointers made per game. Derek White and Sam Hauser, they're making over 41% of their three balls collectively. And of course, Jason Tatum, he's averaging a team-high 27.5 points a night. Now, they're facing a Minnesota club on the other side who is having a tough time covering the point spread recently. They're a great basketball team, playing very good this year. But when it comes to the number, not quite getting the job done. Minnesota actually failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. And I'll tell you, they're actually not built for a track meet offensively. Minnesota's a bottom 10 second-half scoring team in the NBA. And no real shock here, folks. Minnesota's also in the bottom 5 in the West in field goals made per game. Now, injury-wise, Jalen Clark's questionable for the T-Wolves. Horford, Holiday, and Porzingis day-to-day for Boston. 3 out of the Celtics' last 5 outings did fall under the total. Unders against the likes of Utah and San Antonio. Meanwhile, Minnesota went 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me the Celtics minus 6.5. Under 233 and a hook. Next game, Kings, Hornets, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Sacramento's minus 6, totals 234. Now, the Kings have gotten the W in 5 out of their last 7, and they do a nice job shooting from three-land. These guys are making more three-pointers a game than any other club in the Western Conference. Malik Monk and Harrison Barnes are drilling over 41% of their long balls, respectively. De'Aaron Fox leads the roster in points per game. Now, they're facing a Charlotte club who lost 9 out of their last 10. They currently rank dead last in the NBA in guarding the three-pointer themselves. These guys are letting their opponents make 40% of their three-pointers against them. When it comes to defensive play, the Hornets definitely give up the majority of their points late. They're in the bottom 5 in the league in second-half points allowed. Now, injury-wise, Hayward, Ntilikina, Ball, and Williams are all still out. Martin and Washington are questionable. Meanwhile, Charlotte's gone 60% to the under in their last 10. Sacramento, on the other side, they went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Unders against the likes of the Pistons, Pelicans, and this very Hornets team. Give me Sacramento minus 6, under 234. Next game, Spurs, Pistons, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. San Antonio's minus 4, totals 239.5. And for a team laying a couple of buckets on the road, the Spurs have certainly had a tough time getting the W recently. They're currently on a 5-game skid, 1-9 straight up in their last 10. And even worse than that, the Spurs have yet to record a W this season against an out-of-conference opponent. San Antonio is currently winless in 11 games against the Eastern Conference this year. And if you think about it, the Pistons on the other side, well, they have not been absolutely helpless against the point spread. As a matter of fact, the Pistons have been pretty good covering the number over the past few weeks. They got the job done in 5 out of their last 8 ball games. And believe it or not, the Pistons are doing a pretty good job at grabbing boards on defense. Jalen Duren's averaging nearly a dozen rebounds a night. Bojan Bogdanovic is averaging just about 20 points a game on offense. Now, injury-wise, Morris, Stewart, and Cunningham are still inactive. Meanwhile, for the Spurs, Collins and Sissoko are inactive. San Antonio's last 4 straight stayed under the total. 5 out of Detroit's last handful of out-of-conference home games stayed under the total themselves. I think it was 5 out of 6. 5 out of Detroit's last 6 out-of-conference home games stayed under the total. Give me the Pistons +4 under 239.5. All right, next matchup, Wizards-Pacers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Indiana's -7.5, totals 253. Now, the red-hot Pacers got the W in 7 out of their last 8. They covered the point spread in all of those contests I just mentioned except for one. And for those who've been living under a rock, well, just a friendly reminder, Indiana, they are the best scoring team in the game right now. They're averaging more points per contest than any other team in the NBA. When it comes to shooting the basketball, well, they're making a league-best 51% of their field goals. Aaron Nesmith knocks down 45% of his attempts from beyond the arc, double-digit points a game. Meanwhile, Miles Turner, second on the roster in scoring. They're facing a Washington team who lost 8 out of their last 9 themselves. And out of 20 road games, the Wizards picked up the W only 3 times. And the big issue for Washington has been rebounding. They're currently dead last in offensive boards, dead last in defensive boards as well. And when it comes to the injury list, Tyrese Halliburton's sitting out here today for Indy. I don't think it'll be a huge deal considering Washington can't rebound to basketball. 4 out of the Pacers' last 6 ball games got over the total as well. 15-5 to the over in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Now, Washington on the other side, they've gone 63% to the over against in-conference opponents on the road. Give me the Pacers -7.5, over 253. Next game, Thunder Heat, 7:30 p.m. East. OKC's -4, totals 234.5. Now, OKC got the W in 7 out of their last 10, and they're leading the Western Conference in shooting from the field. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes 55% of his field goals. He leads the roster in points. When it comes to shooting the 3 ball, as I said the other day, the following is a list of players on OKC who are shooting over 40% from 3-land. Williams, Holmgren, Dort, Joe, Wallace, Wiggins, the other Williams, Waters, and Bertans. What's that? 9 people who are shooting over 40% from beyond the arc. That is very dangerous. And I'll tell you, OKC's facing a Miami team on the other side who struggles guarding the three-pointer at home. These guys are in the bottom 5 in defensive three-point percentage in their own building. And no real surprise here, they're allowing their competition to make 50% of their field goals against them in their own house. Now, injury-wise, Jimmy Butler's out. Martin and Lowry are doubtful. The Heat's currently 63% to the over in South Beach. Meanwhile, OKC went 10-3 to the over against Eastern Conference opponents. Give me OKC -4, over 234.5. All right, next ball game, it is going to be Sixers-Hawks, 7:30 Eastern start time. Atlanta's the 3-point favorite, totals 245.5. And I'll tell you, I'm not overly concerned about the absence of Joel Embiid for Philly. They've proven they can be competitive without him in the lineup. Tyrese Maxey scoring 25 points a night for the Sixers. Tobias Harris makes 51% of his field goals. Now they're taking on an Atlanta squad who's one of the worst covering teams in the game. They failed to cover in 7 out of their last 8 contests. And I'll tell you, when they play at home, they've got very little chance at covering the number. Out of 14 games in the State Farm Arena this year, the Hawks failed to cover the point spread in all of them except for 2. When it comes to shooting the basketball, 2 out of the Hawks' top 3 scorers are making just 43% of their field goals. Now, injury-wise, Matthews and Capella are questionable. Hunter, Matthews, Krejci, and Goye are still inactive. Meanwhile, for Philly on the other side, Embiid and Covington are scratched. DeAnthony Melton is day-to-day. Now, total-wise, the Sixers saw 63% of their road games this year get over the total. Meanwhile, Atlanta's 11-3 to the over in front of their own fans. Once again, that's 11-3 to the over in their own house. Give me the Sixers +3 over 245.5. All right, next contest, it is going to be Rockets-Bulls, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Chicago's -5, totals 217. Now, the Bulls have struggled with out-of-conference opponents this year. They currently have a losing record against the West at the moment. When it comes to offensive production, there aren't many teams out there worse than Chicago. They're in the bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage. They also tend to bury themselves early. The Bulls are the lowest first-quarter scoring team in the league. Zach LaVine's making just 33% of his three-pointers. Nikola Vucevic shoots 27% from three-land himself. And they're facing a Houston club who prides themselves in defense. They allow fewer points a game than any other club besides Minnesota. They also lead the NBA in fewest field goals allowed per game. Now, injury-wise, Tari Eason is out for Houston. Torrey Craig still inactive for Chicago. The Bulls are 8-1 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, Houston saw unders recently against the likes of the Bucks, Nets, and Pacers. Give me the Rockets +5. Under 217. Next game, Pelicans, Warriors, 8:30 p.m. East. Golden State's -1 at home, totals 233. Now, Golden State has struggled over the past couple of weeks. They took the loss in 5 out of their last 7, and they've currently got a losing record in their in-conference home games. And surprisingly, folks, the Warriors have shot the basketball quite poorly in their own building. These guys are in the bottom 3 in the West in field goal percentage at home. And their second leading scorer, Klay Thompson, he's making just 42% of his attempts from the field. Andrew Wiggins is knocking down just 29% of his three-pointers. They're currently facing a Pelicans club on the other side who's been very tough to shoot against themselves. They're currently in the top 3 in the West in guarding the three-pointer. And I'll tell you, they really do tend to bury you early in games. They're actually giving up fewer second-quarter points a game than any other club in the league. Now, injury-wise, Zion Williamson is questionable for the Pels. Jose Alvarado's day-to-day. Meanwhile, for Golden State on the other side, Chris Paul and Gary Payton are still inactive. Draymond Green, he should be returning here shortly from suspension. Not sure if it's today or in the next couple of games, but should see him back in action here. Almost retired. Apparently, Adam Silver talked him out of retirement. Anyway, the Warriors saw unders recently against the likes of Detroit, Miami, and Washington. Meanwhile, the Pels went 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me the Pelicans +1, under 233. Next contest, Nuggets Jazz, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Denver's -7, totals 238. And even though the Nuggets are favored by several baskets on the road here, I don't feel great about them covering the point spread. They failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8, and they've actually struggled covering the point spread on the road this year. Out of 19 contests away from the Ball Arena, the Nuggets covered only 7 times. They're facing a Utah team who plays their best basketball at home. They're 11-5 straight up in Salt Lake City, and they've been one of the better covering teams in basketball recently. They're currently 8-2 against the spread in their last 10, 12-4 against the number in the Delta Center. Lauri Markkanen's he's averaging over 23.5 points a game. Markkanen's also drilling just about 40% of his long balls. Meanwhile, Jordan Clarkson's second in the lineup in points. Now, injury-wise, Julian Strawther's out for the Nuggets. Denver's 11-3 to the under in their in-conference road games. Meanwhile, Utah saw the under cash in 5 out of their last 7. Give me the Jazz +7 under 238. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It's going to be in that Raptors-Clippers game. That'll be a 10:30 Eastern start time. The LA Clippers are -9.5, totals 235 and a hook. Now, the Clips got the W in 6 out of their last 7 ball games, and they've been quite difficult to beat in their own arena. LA's 15-4 straight up at home, and they're one of the better defensive rebounding teams in the game. LA's currently in the top 3 in defensive boards per contest in their own building. Ivica Zubac averages just about double-digit rebounds a night, a dozen points a game on offense. And speaking of offensive production, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they're averaging 23 points a game respectively, and they're both making over 40% of their three-pointers. Now, they're facing a Raptors club on the other side of things who's had a real tough time in their road trips this year. Out of 19 ball games away from Toronto, the Raptors got the W only 6 times. When it comes to defensive play, well, Toronto, they haven't been great in that particular category. They're in the bottom 5 in the East in guarding the field goal away from home. Otto Porter is questionable for Toronto. Pirtle and Koloko are inactive. 5 out of the Raptors' last 6 conference road games got over the total. And out of their last 10 contests more recently, the over cashed in 80% of those ball games. Now, the Clippers saw overs recently against the likes of Phoenix, Boston, and OKC. Give me the Clippers -9.5, over 235 and a hook. And with that, folks, now it is time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Celtics -6.5, under 233 and a hook. Kings -6, under 234. Pistons +4, under 239.5. I'm 7-1 in my last 8 extra daily picks on my premium site. Pacers -7.5, over 253. Thunder -4, over 234.5. Sixers +3, over 245 and a hook. Rockets +5, under 217. Pelicans +1, under 233. Jazz +7, under 238. With my next and final pick for the video, give me the Clippers -9.5, over 235 and a hook. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. Now, if you do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman membership, it's a full access, all-inclusive package. It gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. As an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, folks, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page at patreon.com/BrockPage.